Hi guys, welcome back to my book channel. I hope you're having a great day. I am so excited for today's video because you cannot make me shut up about Kindle Unlimited. I got Kindle Unlimited last year when I got this at Christmas time, and it has changed my reading. It's crazy, and I used to be a Kindle Unlimited hater. I used to think, why would someone want to read ebooks when you can read physical books? I love physical books, but getting Kindle Unlimited has changed my way of reading, and it opens up so many opportunities, so I need to talk about it. So today I am going to be giving you guys my favourite Kindle Unlimited recommendations. I try to read on my Kindle as much as possible. The subscription I think is like £9 or something like that, and it's one of my more expensive subscriptions. However, it is the one I use the most and the one I get the most joy out of. I love collecting things. I love collecting books, games, whatever. I love collecting things, and that is why I love physical books. I always will love physical books, but when I got Kindle Unlimited, it changed the game. It changed the game, and I beg everyone, if you don't even need an iPad. You can literally get the Kindle Unlimited app on your iPhone, which I didn't know. I did not know that, and I wish I had done that sooner. But I got this iPad and I got the Kindle Unlimited app and bought Kindle Unlimited for it last year, and it made my year of reading so good, because I used to feel really guilty about loving to read and wanting to read books all the time because I was buying physical books so much, and it's expensive, especially nowadays when, you know, there's so many amazing editions and a lot of them come out in hardbacks. Like, I remember when Fourth Wing first came out, it was only hardbacks that I could get, so, you know, it's expensive to do that. But then I got Kindle Unlimited, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I can read on the go far easier. I hate taking books out with me because I like keeping my books in good condition, and I hate the thought of like just sticking a book in a bag and like the corners being all crushed. I don't know, it just stresses me out. So that's why I always have a Kindle book on the go, and it's the best. It is the best. So today I'm going through my favourite Kindle Unlimited reads, and I'm going to start out strong with one of my favourite fantasy romance duets of all time. It is Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Now, this series is so good, and I know it's getting a bit more hype these days, but when I first heard about this, I could not get my hands on a physical copy. This was the second book I read on my Kindle, and it set the bar so high because it's one of my favourite fantasy series duets. It's a duet of all time. So this book has trials, which is one of my favourite tropes. I love trials. So this book has trials. It's kind of like Hunger Games vibes. There's a big tournament type of thing that's going on, and our main female character, Araya, is a human in a world overrun by vampires. So she has a very interesting life that she leads, kind of constantly being at risk and in danger in her everyday life, thrown into this competition filled with vampires, and she is the blood bag essentially. So it's a really cool dynamic. I'm a huge fan of Twilight. It's like my comfort movies, and this is my like first proper vampire fantasy book in, I think, ever. I read like one when I was in high school, but it was not good. And this series, I don't actually know why I've not delved into vampire romance since, or vampire fantasy since. I think it's set the bar so high that I don't know how to compete with it. But our main character Araya meets a vampire called Rain. Rain is a really interesting male main character. I really, really enjoy their interactions, and I think they've got quite a unique dynamic. And yeah, he's got some sort of like kind of like vulnerability, and he's got flaws, which I really like. I feel like sometimes main male characters are made to be this big like make believe fantasy. It sometimes is just not real enough. Not that this is about vampires. This is a fantasy world. It's none of it's real, but I like that he seemed a bit more human even when he's a vampire, because he has flaws about him. Yeah, it just makes it easier to connect when your character has flaws. And Araya is so, so cool. I love her. She's such an interesting main female character, and she is so strong. I love like watching her throughout this duet. It is a duet, and I think there's a third book about like a different person, about a different couple. I've not read that because I didn't realise this was a duet, and upon finishing book 2 I was really distraught. So I've not went back into I think it's Crowns of Naxia. Yeah, Crowns of Naxia. I've not went back into this world just yet, but I probably will at some point. Just not yet. I'm still grieving that we don't get any more Rain and Araya, because their journey and their story is so, so good. I would recommend, if you do read this, read the 2 books as close together as possible. I left a gap, and the second book is very heavy on the politics and the plot, because there's a lot of different groups that you need to keep track of. In this vampire human world, there's a lot of different things, wars breaking out, battles happening, etc. So you need to kind of know whose side everyone's on and who everyone is. So reading the 2 together as close as possible is my main recommendation. Other than that, you're just in for the best time ever, and yeah, it is such a good book. Following on from that, I want to talk about a book that I only know because of the author, which I find really interesting. I usually just find out about books and like the author isn't really the reason I read the books, but this is by Eevy, and this is Eevy ASMR's book that she wrote, and it is so good, and I don't hear enough people talking about it. It's called A Dance of Fates, and this is book 1. She has released book 2. I've not read book 2 yet because it came out when I was reading Throne of Glass, so I had to kind of put it on pause. But this is in the Veiled Fates series, and it is so, so good. If you love heavy world building and a unique magic system, I love this. I think it's so interesting, and a lot more people should read it, because I think she's got like a really unique, fun world she's building. I will say, if you're not into the heavy world building, probably not for you, because this is a first book. It's kind of similar vibes to When the Moon Hatched, which I'll get onto in a minute. When the Moon Hatched is very heavy on the world building as well, because it's quite complex and new, and you know, you need to give it time to deepen everything, the story and the characters and the plot that's going on, essentially. So it is heavy on the world building in the first book. I've not read book 2, of course, but I can only assume that book 2 is going to be even better because of how she's set up book 1. I loved this. I am going to read out the blurb for you for this one. Trapped by the threads of fate, Celine, a demi-fae, is granted an opportunity to free herself from the confines of her destiny. She must embark on a journey to become the greatest temptress the continent has ever seen. However, Celine's unwavering moral compass and ineptitude at courting males leave her in a position where she must either betray herself or suffer the wrath of the fae goddess who crafted her for such a destiny. So that gives you a little idea of what our main character Celine is up against. I really like this. There's some really, really good, not side characters, I mean she's our like main character, I suppose side characters then. There's some really good side characters, supporting characters in this that are really filled out, And this book made me sob, guys, like sob. The ending is heartbreaking. It ends on... Does it end on a cliffhanger? I think it ends on a cliffhanger, which I remember being quite devastated about because the book 2 wasn't out yet. So I finished book 1 and I was like, oh my god, I need to read book 2, and it didn't exist. But I'm going to reread it and then read book 2 eventually. I really, really liked the kind of goddess element in this. It's just a very unique and fun magic system that I hadn't really come across something similar. So that's why I really, really enjoyed this. And I think the supporting characters, as I said, are ones that I felt really attached to, which makes the story so much better. There's also a kind of like, I want to compare him to Dorian in Throne of Glass, a kind of like Ice King vibe, and he's everything. So I loved everything that was going on with that. But I'm not going to say too much about it because I'm not going to say too much about this one because I don't want to spoil it, but you need to get involved because it is so good and I need to talk about it. So following on from that one, another fantasy. This is heavy fantasy. And this is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I see a lot of people with mixed reviews on this. Some people hate it, some people really like it. And I can understand why. It definitely took me like a bit to get into this book. It's quite a long book from what I remember as well. I can't remember how many pages it is, but I think it's quite long. I can understand where people are coming from with their mixed feelings for this book, but I feel like once you get your claws in, because it definitely took me a minute to get into this book. I think the writing style is quite, like, it has some flourishes. It definitely took me a minute to get used to that and to get properly into it. Definitely is heavy on the world building. Like, this is a complex world. There's a lot of political kind of schemes going on behind the scenes, and there's also an elemental magic system which I loved. I probably have sort of, but this, I really liked the elemental magic system, the way it's dealt with in this book. Basically, the elemental wielders, I think they're called, can hear the songs of the elements, and that's how they use the magic, and they kind of like draw it from the earth type of thing. Very, very cool. In my mind, it feels very pretty and very magical and like ethereal. There is a giant glossary at the start of this book, telling you how to like pronounce certain terms, what certain terms mean, and a lot, like a kind of bestiary of like all the different beasts and creatures that you'll come across in this book. I think I relied heavily on the glossary. It does say you don't need to, but I think for the best experience it is good to kind of flick back and forth if you're not following along. There is another element that I was kind of confused about, that is like a diary from the past that you're reading about. So you're reading about the main character and then flashing back to past events. It's kind of confusing, but once you get further into the book, it starts to kind of make more sense, and things that are happening in the past kind of piece together. So it's all relevant, you know. It's a bit confusing, but you get used to it. I will say there are dragons in this book, but it's kind of minimal in the first book at least. I'm so excited for book 2. I read this and immediately was like, oh my god, when is book 2 coming out? Is it out? Can I read it? Just to find out it had just been released earlier that year. Painful. But you know what? It's worth it, because this is one of the books I still think about constantly, and like I'm actively excited. I feel like I love Fourth Wing, okay, but I've still not read Iron Flame or Onyx Storm. I don't even own Onyx Storm, because I need to go back and reread Fourth Wing and Iron Flame before I read the rest of the series, But this one, guys, as soon as that book drops, I am running. I feel like it takes a lot for me to like highly anticipate a read. But with this, I was just so hooked into the story, and upon finishing this book, jaw was on the floor, guys. Jaw was on the floor. So I beg of you, if you've DNF'd this book, pick it back up. Girl, push through, please, for me. It's so good, and I need more people, because I know a lot of people do give up with this book, and that is so fair. I am in full support of people DNFing a book when they need to, but with this one, no. I'm sorry. No. I just won't allow it. It's so good, and you're missing out if you're not reading it. So that's where I stand. Now, I have saw quite a lot of people talk about this series. However, I don't know why it took me so long to read it. This is the Mindf series by S.C. Abbey. I was so surprised upon starting this series. This is a series of 5 like short books. When I mean short, they're sub 200 pages. I think that it just makes like one big book essentially. But these books are crazy. This series is amazing. This is heavy on the revenge plot though. This whole thing is all about a girl who has experienced something really, really horrific and is basically plotting her revenge and executing that with the help of her best friend. She, along the way, meets an FBI agent who, by pure chance, he is involved in her cases. So she knows it. He doesn't know that she is the serial killer he's after. It's great. This is such a good read. It is heavy content here. I'm going to say please read the trigger warnings if you're, person that can be triggered by these things. It is a very dark series and definitely not for everyone, but if that's your type of thing, it's definitely worth it. I found this dynamic between like serial killer and FBI agent really, really funny. Well, not funny, like just it's ironic because she should not be anywhere near him, and she knows it. But yeah, the fact that these two people are involved it keeps you on edge every time they're in the room together. I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna find out. It's stressful. It's so stressful, but you go through so many different feelings and emotions. Your moral compass is gonna be spinning round and round and round and round during this series. It is super, super heavy, and yeah, it stresses you out. It will stress you out, but it is worth it. It is so worth it. I love this story, and I wouldn't even say I'm like big on the revenge plot, to be honest, but it was written really, really, really well, and it just kept you hooked. After each book, it's like a cliffhanger, and I was straight into the next one. Yeah, I could not recommend this enough. It is so, so good. So that is the Mindf series. So that one isn't fantasy, romance, or anything like that. That one is like thriller, suspense, dark romance in a way. I mean, the romance it's sort of a bit of a main plot, of course, but the bigger plot that she's dealing with, the way it all unfolds, crazy work. But yeah, I would recommend that if you've not read that. Last month I read The Loser's Duet, but I bought them as Kindle books, but they're not on the Kindle Unlimited library, and it's breaking my heart that I can't really recommend them in this video. But another fantasy series that I want to talk about, I feel like so the last fantasy book I want to draw your attention to is again by Carissa Broadbent. She is so good. The way her mind works and the fantasy worlds that she comes up with, amazing. This is Daughter of No Worlds, and this is the War of Lost Hearts series. This is a trilogy that I've yet to complete, but I'm on book 2, and book 1 is really, really good. If you like Throne of Glass, you need to read this series. It is so similar. The main character, Tisana, is a former slave. She escapes slavery and travels to another island, another continent. I can't remember the details. She travels to another place away from the land that she's grew up in, which is riddled with slavery, and she goes there to become stronger and join the Orders, which is a group of magical people that have a lot of power and strength. So she knows about them, she wants to go there and use her magic for good. Tisana does have magic, but we don't know her full powers until later in the book. So I'm not going to say too much about the magic, but the magic system in the Orders anyway, there's 2 different magic wielding races, and Tisana is part of one that kind of has like control in people's minds and creating kind of things. That's what Tisana can do. And the other side of the Orders, people have fire wielders, and that's who she is assigned to be someone's apprentice. Max Antarius has fire wielding powers, and he has a very weird situation that we don't really know the full extent of. He doesn't want to help the Orders. He's still a part of the Orders. He's not out of that yet, but he doesn't want to help them in any way. So Tisana comes along, and she is a lot older than a lot of the people who are being trained to be in the Orders, but she needs to pass tests before she can join, like anyone else would. So basically Tisana needs to convince Max to be his apprentice. He is really against it at first, and Tisana's story is really, really sad. Her life and everyone that she knows back home, she wants to help all of these people who are stuck in slavery and stuck in really awful situations. And yeah, it's tough. I will say this is a sad book. But I love the way that Tisana goes about her life. She doesn't let any of this get her down. She still has so much like to give and so much passion that she carries about, and this kind of ignites something in Max as well. And their relationship as apprentice, it's so cute. I particularly liked Max as a male main character because I thought he was quite kind of vulnerable, and he has a lot of like heavy things that he carries about with him, and he's not afraid to kind of show that to Tisana. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, you should check out this, and I am still thoroughly enjoying reading through this series, so I'll let you know when I finish it. I'm sure you'll hear about it at some point. But yeah, hopefully, I know these were mostly fantasy recommendations, but hopefully you found something in here that sounds up your street. And if you don't have Kindle Unlimited, please go and buy it. I'm begging you. If you take anything away from this, please, because it's so easy to just put down a book that you're not interested in if you've got it on Kindle Unlimited. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye guys.